I don't have like exact cap on this, but Dana White has said that this fight in particular has saved the UFC, and it's two guys just fighting for their lives right now. So I highly suggest checking that out, you Austin, and anybody who has not seen it on YouTube, the UFC Fight Pass, wherever on. Where do you like to go for your free fights?
I think I saw it on Hulu too.
Hulu. Stephan Bonner versus Forrest Griffin, the Ultimate Fighter 1 season finale 2005. Now getting into the segment here, we're going to briefly talk about UFC Fight Night Korea, which took place December 21st, 2019, the last event, as we alluded to earlier, of the 2019 slate and the decade for the UFC. This was a fight that was supposed to feature Chang Sung-Jun versus Brian Ortega in the UFC featherweight division. Ortega had to pull out on late notice, and Frankie Edgar stepped up. And even though he was slated for a fight with Corey Sandhagen down the road, what day was that? Was that January or February? The Sandhagen.
I want to say February.
He was scheduled for that fight with Sandhagen in February. He might still be on that, and I'm not sure if he has a medical suspension. I did not see. But takes this fight on short notice in Korea, of all things, a New Jersey native. That is a trip. This fight lasted 3 minutes and 18 seconds. Frankie Edgar landed 9 of his 14 strikes thrown and whiffed on 2 takedown attempts. Chang Sung-Jun hit on 79 of 97 strikes and got the first round knockout on a vicious combination that we all watched prior to the show. The uppercut was working clean for him on that matchup. What did you guys think about that fight?
From the beginning, you could kind of tell that Frankie's range was not there. He couldn't really land at the beginning, and then he went for a takedown, which it was a good takedown. He was just too far away. He hesitated a little bit before he shot it, like he wasn't sure if he wanted to go for it. It was just small little things like that. He was like hesitating, couldn't find his range, stuff like that. So it kind of just seemed like Chang Sung-Jun just kind of had control the entire time.
Yeah, he had a reach advantage because he had a 4-inch reach advantage, 72 to 68, and he is a superior striker, and he had home field advantage in a sense. So all those things, if you've got semi-decent takedown defense and he is the younger fighter, so he's a little more athletic, a little quicker on that trigger, it's made for a tough matchup for Frankie Edgar, and accompany all that with the fact he had to go to Korea for this fight, and he had an ugly, ugly haircut.
I saw that on the UFC.com.
He should have chopped it.
I thought they were joking. I thought it was like some joke.
No.
And then all of a sudden I saw him in the fight, and I was like, oh.
He should have chopped that.
Yeah, that's not a joke.
Austin?
Yeah, the haircut was real bad. But
I love how that's his lead-in. He's like, before I talk about the fight, that haircut, whoo, boy, that was bad.
Yeah, but it just didn't seem like Frankie Edgar was himself in this fight. Very hesitant, like Ryan said. He went for that takedown, but, I mean, it would have been...
Welcome back, everybody, to the final segment here on the Red Corner, the MMA and combat sports show of Elevation528esports.com. Still listening to Tanner Freeze, Ryan, and Austin with Ty behind the glass, running the board, making everything happen here in the Go Mile High Studios to bring you this great podcast. Thank you very much, Ty. Thank you very much, Austin and Ryan, as you guys chug down your water from Starbucks in your venti cups. Today, or on this last segment, guys, we're going to be talking about the fights we're the most excited about that have been officially announced in 2020. I almost said 2019. There is the obvious one of McGregor versus Cerrone coming up later this month, January 18th. So let's just, I guess, touch up on that a little bit, guys, since it is coming up here briefly. We're going to break that fight down more in depth probably next week or the week after, give a little preview of it. But just as of right now, what do we feel like is going to happen with McGregor coming back from 2 years of ring rust, has not won in the UFC since 2016, and he is coming up to fight at 170 for the first time since his second Diaz fight.
Have you seen pictures of him? He's looking big.
McGregor?
Yeah. Up top, he's looking big.
Yeah, but good for him. He can look big all you want, man.
I know.
You're a smart dude. You know MMA is not about being big.
Right. I do think he's going to knock out Cerrone, though. As much as I want Cerrone to win, and I want Cerrone to knock him out, I don't think it's going to happen, because when you put pressure on Cerrone, he's not that good. He just kind of becomes like a mid-tier fighter when he gets pressure put on him. Like we saw Diaz do it. I mean, obviously Cerrone's like way different fighter now. He has way better head movement. And Gaethje did it. Yeah, and I think Conor is one of the best at counter striking while putting pressure on you. And Cerrone likes to like kind of lunge into his punches now. He lunges into him, and I think that's just going to be easy pickings for Conor.
Yeah, I agree. I think McGregor's going to win this one. I think it could be Cerrone's last match, to be honest, as well. It just doesn't excite me as much as the other 3 fights that we know are scheduled this year because I'm pretty sure McGregor is going to be favorited, and I'm pretty sure he's going to win.
I disagree here. I'm betting on Cerrone here because I like the odds. For me, it's this. McGregor made his whole career fighting crappy strikers and wrestlers, right?
Okay.
And now you're putting up against someone who can strike just as good, who's just as dangerous on the ground who is adequately dangerous on the ground, comparable to Diaz, right? I'm not saying anywhere that obviously Cerrone's not as dangerous as Diaz, but he is more dangerous than McGregor on the ground, right?
Agreed.
And I think that Cerrone's wrestling, if need be, from experience, can get McGregor on the ground. I mean, now McGregor he's looking big, and at 170 he's going to have that power to hit hard enough, but he's going to be, I'm not sure if he's going to be tuned. I mean, here's what I mean by tuned. You add all that weight, you're lifting, right? You're adding muscle. That throws off your body mechanics. That throws off your internal timing. That throws off a whole bunch of stuff. And if you're like in a fight camp, if you're like fighting for 3 years prior and you're in tune with all this, it's not as big. But you add all that weight to a fighter with ring rust, someone who hasn't done all this at the highest level in 2 years, against someone who's just as long at a weight class you have not had success in, I think it's going to be a bad fight for McGregor. And then the cherry on top of all of this, when McGregor's doing that wide stance and he's doing that whole little wide with his arms thing, he's like, yeah. Cerrone's going to butcher that leg with leg kicks, much like Volkanovski just did to Holloway, and limit his mobility. And and McGregor cannot help but do that stance. He cannot help but be exposed in that long, kind of weird stance where his front foot is so far in front of his back foot, and he's kind of lengthening out.
We kind of saw Eddie Alvarez do that to him a little bit, though, in the first round, too.
But he's too short. Doesn't have the reach.
Okay.
McGregor can punch over the top of the kick.
That's fair.
Cerrone, he cannot punch over the top of Cerrone's kick because he's longer. Or he's not longer. He's just as... No, he will have a reach advantage.
Right. Well, one thing, too, is if Conor is going to... Okay. Like, obviously, he's put muscle mass on, so he's probably not going to be as quick. And he's at 170, so he's probably not going to be as quick as he was at, 155 against Alvarez. But if he can beat Cerrone with the punch... like his straight left, Cerrone leaves his chin real high when he throws those kicks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's for a puncher's chance. McGregor has the better puncher's chance. He's gonna have more power, and he's still a very dangerous striker. And if Cerrone sleeps on him, he's gonna sleep himself. And it's MMA. There's always that puncher's chance, like we've always seen. I'm just saying, to me, I like the odds of Cerrone here because of all the other things that go into this.
That's fair.
But like Austin said, this is not one that excites me a tremendous amount compared to the other ones here. We have February 8th. John Bones Jones will be defending his title against the 12-0 Dominic Reyes, the 30-year-old fighter who is going to have 77 inches of reach compared to the 84.5 of Jones. It is... God, what a bad time to be a UFC light heavyweight, guys. What a bad time. I'm not excited about this. It's boring. It's a Jones fight. Woo, John Jones. John Jones fans are excited. This is nothing. This is the UFC light heavyweight division needs a shot in the arm because there's nothing there right now. You're giving the number 4 guy in the division a title shot. Number 2 is Cormier. Number 1 is Santos. He's already beaten these guys. Anthony Smith, Reyes, Corey Anderson, Jan Blachowicz, Bohovic. I always said that name wrong. Alexander Gustafsson, oh my goodness. I'll make the case here for the statement. UFC light heavyweight division is the softest division. Best champion, softest division. Like the AFC East in football.
Are they the softest division because they have the best champion, though?
See, I don't think so because you can still have a great champion and have good competition around it. I just don't think maybe compared to, but even no. Because like I look at like Daniel Cormier is okay. I look at Thiago Santos, Anthony Smith, and Dominic Reyes. Right, the next three guys up underneath Jones. I compare them to Brian Ortega, Zabit Magomed-Sharipov, Max Holloway. Compare them to Marlon Moraes, Aljamain Sterling, Peter Yan. Tony Ferguson, Dustin Poirier, Justin Gaethje. Like, come on,
Right.
Like, they're not the same. It's the UFC light heavyweight division is so weak right now,
I mean, it's been weak for a while.
and it's. Yeah,
And-
it used to be it used to be the best one, man. Back in the day,
Chuck Liddell, Tito Ortiz,
Forrest Griffin, Rampage,
Stephen
Rashad,
Bonner.
all those guys. Like that was the premier weight class, and now it's just
I mean, the only reason I would watch this fight is to see how Jones wins this time.
Mhm.
See how he picks apart his opponent this
or
time.
see if he beats himself.
Or yeah, like
For me, the years the middleweight division was the softest. Now with Whitaker, Costa, Romero, Cannonier, Till, Hermanson, I like it. I like the
Right.
middleweight division.
I mean, the only division I would say that's weaker than light heavyweight is maybe flyweight. Because
Yeah,
I mean,
that's fair.
Joseph Benavidez, Henry Cejudo. Who else? Sergio Pettis, Tim Elliott. I mean,
Figueroa, Pinero. I feel that, but see, it's hard. It's harder fielding those little guys, you
Right.
know, because you'd imagine, or I would imagine, that it's easier finding guys that can cut to 205 than guys that can cut to what is that? What 135?
flyweight is
Yeah.
125.
120. Jeez, yeah, man. Jeez, and didn't Cejudo just get removed as a champion of that weight class?
Yeah, he gave it up.
because Benavidez is fighting. Benavidez is fighting somebody for the
I
title.
have no clue.
125 is tough, man. Like those are
Right.
little dudes. Those are little dudes.
Right, and I
Little dudes don't usually like to go fight people.
see there was only one fight that I was excited for, and that was if Henry Cejudo didn't drop that title, him and Joseph Benavidez again,
Mhm.
because Joseph Benavidez beat wow, let me try one time.
Beat him
Joseph
to that.
Benavidez beat him the first time. Can he beat him again? And like, that was like what 2 years ago?
Yeah.
Yeah, and Cejudo has gotten so much better since then.
Uh-huh. And before I forget, because I forgot to lead off the segment with it, correction on the last segment. Ty had said that Leonard Garcia was the first one to pull off the twister in the UFC in his debut. That is going to be switched around to him being the victim of the first twister in his UFC debut to the Korean Zombie. So all is good, Ty. But so no one is tweeting at me, even though I might get one late. There's your asterisk. There's your stat correction. Pushing forward, Adesanya versus Romero. I don't think this is official, but it is basically 98% they're official to steal the headliner from Zhang Wei Li's first title defense against Joanna Jacek March 7th, 2 days after my birthday. I like this one, guys. I tell you what, I like this one. Adesanya versus Romero. Whoo, boy. This is a long, technical, fast, like a good-looking striker. Good-looking, like in a sense where he's going to like try and be a showman when he's striking against somebody who can take anybody's head off with a punch.
Yeah,
Stylistically, it's just, you love to see it.
I mean, obviously Adesanya's like a different type of striker than Whitaker, but is Romero going to come out the same way against Adesanya as he did against Whitaker the second time? Where he just stands there in front of him the entire first round?
I don't know. Maybe we get Romero like against Costa, where they were just throwing bombs at each
yeah.
other over the summer. Like if we get that Romero pushing forward, looking to get that action, ready to sit down and throw that heavy right.
Or maybe he uses Olympic wrestling against Adesanya.
I don't think no. I mean, yes,
I think it'd be the smart move though.
he'd have to pin him on the cage.
Right.
Adesanya is too athletic. He's too agile to be
Right.
and too long, right? So when you pair that length with that agility and that reaction time with the concept he's going to want to hold range, it's going to be very tough for Romero to get inside and use that wrestling. He's going to have to try and use good veteranship experience and get him use motion to kind of get him into a cage and limit his mobility, corner him in a sense.
Right.
For wrestling. This might be the one.
Yep.
This might be the one for me.
Yep.
I'm excited most about this one because I think somebody sleeps. It's going to be Romero catching Adesanya being slick or catching Adesanya putting on pressure, or it's going to be Adesanya catching Romero when he's putting on that pressure with some slick counters or a snappy combination. It's going to be a good one. Austin, what do you think here?
I like the fight to get a TKO. I agree with you. I think it's just going to be who catches who doing what wrong. And that's really what it's going to come down to, in my opinion, is who makes the first mistake. And I think if someone makes a mistake, then they're going to be done because the other one, they're both very, very talented in the ring. And I think if one of them makes a mistake, the other one's gonna realize it and take advantage.
That is going to be UFC 248 at T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas. As I said already, that will also feature Weili Zhang defending her title for the first time against Joanna Jacek. Wait, let's draw it. Yeah, I think that is Weili Zhang defending. Robert Whitaker is also on that card, facing off against Jared Cannonier, who's having a pretty good run right now. UFC 248 March 7th is going to be a good card to watch, everybody. Closing out here, the one that everybody is probably really excited about, Khabib Nurmagomedov versus Tony Ferguson, April 18th. You want my hot take here, guys?
Yeah.
Can you guess my hot take?
You're not really excited for it because it's been scheduled, 4 times?
Keep going.
And one of them might pull out, and now, because that's exactly where I'm at. I'm like, one of them might pull out, and then we don't get to see the fight again. It's like the fight's cursed, and I want to see it. If it comes down to it where they're both in the cage at that moment, then I am extremely excited for it. That is the fight I am most excited for.
Yes.
But until then, I cannot be excited.
I've got nothing to say. Perfectly said. I'm scared it won't happen. I'm so scared.
I thought it was going to happen last time.
And
Tony tripped on a cord and a cable.
And I think Khabib is kind of scared of Tony. I think he's running from him. That's kind of the sense that I've gotten. I have nothing to concrete to back that up. But when Khabib's corner and him are asking for GSP after that Poirier fight and not Tony, something's up. Something's up.
I mean, Khabib did say, what was it, after he beat, I think, McGregor, he said he does want to fight Tony because beating Tony helps his legacy.
Because after he fought Poirier, he said he wanted to fight GSP because his corner said they want legacy fights. They're building a legacy. Tony's not as big a name as GSP. That was their justification.
Okay.
I think Tony's dangerous.
I think Tony's got the right tools.
Austin, you want to put a bow on this?
Yeah, I'm just afraid it's not going to happen. Someone's going to pull out again. But if they do step into the octagon, then that is the fight I'm most hyped about, and I think it's going to burn the house down.
I am right there with you, Ty. That was the intro, my friend. Let me get that bump out. So to recap this segment, everybody, we are all excited most at the Red Corner table about Adesanya versus Romero in the middleweight division, March 7th at the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas. Also on that card, Weili Zhang against Joanna Jacek. That'll be a good one, guys. And this was a good show, episode 7 here on the Red Corner. You've been listening to Tanner Freeze. Follow me on Twitter at Tanner Freeze. Ryan, follow him on Twitter at RCMS2020. And Austin, follow him on Twitter whenever he gets one. Ty at Fuji_Ty. And we will see you all next Tuesday on the Red Corner, everybody. Have a good one. Whenever you're listening to this podcast, have a good rest of your day or evening. Later.